A true legend and history maker. Thanks so much for coming back to this intimate conversation with Judge Penny Brown Reynolds. You may recognize her from her Emmy-nominated court show, Family Court with Judge Penny. But her story starts as this little girl growing up in small town Louisiana. And I want to talk more about the lessons that little girl, little Penny, learned that fortified who we all know and love today.
Yes. Growing up in the 60s, I watched the marginalization of a lot of people. And, you know, we often say that...
And in the 60s and in the South.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We grew up poor and didn't know it. Remember that? But what I did with my mother always made me know that I didn't have to pick one thing. I'll never forget a woman asking me, "Little girl, what are you going to be when you grow up?" And my mother said, "Madam, I would have you to know that my daughter does not have to pick." So I got permission as a little girl that anything that I wanted to be and do, but people are not comfortable with that, Portia.
Right.
They want you to stay in a lane or in a box.
Pick this, and I have to just acknowledge the strength of your mother and the wisdom, and to say that even publicly, right? So that you could hear it and so that others could hear, no, don't assign my daughter to picking one thing, and especially in a time when it was, you know, oh, girls don't go to law school, girls don't do this, and you went on to I feel like we should call your mother's name while we're seeing her picture.
Yeah, DeForest Marie Brown was a single mother raised with my grandparents. My grandfather was a black farmer. For me to grow up and become the acting assistant secretary for civil rights, making certain that black farmers were rewarded the money that they should have gotten.
It was a full circle.
It was a full circle. But she poured into me, she and my grandmother, that everything that she couldn't do, I was the embodiment of what she could be.
Right.
And she died young, in her 60s. And so I always felt the obligation that I was living for my mother and for me, which is really what made me tap into Unstoppable.
Yeah.
Because I just kept feeling like she didn't get a chance to do all of the things that I wanted to do. But she made a way for me with wisdom. She gave me the strength of God, but the confidence.
And I want to lean into that confidence part of the conversation, because you kind of weave that throughout the book. The confidence to own your ideas, to own your vision, speak up in a workspace, in a relationship space, maybe where things aren't going the way you think it should go. How important is it for the women who are watching at home and in whatever season of, whether it's depression, whether it's debt, whether it's just self-doubt, because you touch on all of these. What's that first step to pushing past the storm?
Yes, this total acceptance of who you are. I often say to people, the DNA, the deoxyribonucleic acid, that makes us who we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, first guest to say what DNA really means in all three, but go ahead.
No one is like Portia, no one is like Penny. I never had that gene that competed with other people or envious of other people. I was just totally accepting who I am as a person.
Even when people were trying to sort of, oh, no, young lady, that, because you were talented and young and moving quickly through a lot of these spaces when you were making history. How did you hold your own in the face of folks who were like,
When I couldn't depend on anybody else, Portia, I learned to really just depend on me.
Yeah.
With failed relationships, with betrayal of friends, with betrayal of other things.
Yeah.
I had to learn for myself, what can you really depend on? And for me, it was the love of God.
Yeah.
But then it was something that was deep inside of me that I know I would never betray myself.
Right.
Because I needed to be honest with myself. I needed to be authentic and accept my faults.
Yeah.
But really look at who I am as a person. And I think once I did that, my whole life changed for me.
We've got less than a minute left, but I don't want to leave out the fact that you owned the rights to this show. How important is it for you to take ownership of what you create, whether it's in television spaces, your creative intelligence, your intellectual property is something I really want us to spend some time on when we come back from the break. But there's still so much more. There's so much in this book. We will be right back.
And I do.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I really want to thank you for season 3 of Portia. It's because of loyal viewers like you that we keep getting to share this daily dose of positivity all across the country. So just a reminder, I still need you to like, comment, and subscribe. And go ahead and tell your friends. You can catch us now in Orlando, in San Francisco, in Atlanta, and all across the country on Fox Soul. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon on Portia.